Alrighty. Should be live. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Evan Freiberger, and today we're going to be talking about the severe weather risks that are coming up tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. So we're talking about Sunday and Monday, where we could have some pretty impactful severe weather. We're not only talking about damaging winds, the potential for tornadoes, and also some hail is all within the realms of possibility as our next storm system comes in. But hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? This storm system is going to have it all. Yes, and there's also, even though I don't want to talk about it, it's kind of hard to ignore. We are going to have a winter storm and potentially a blizzard behind this storm as well. So pretty much almost everybody in the eastern portion of the United States will be impacted by these next couple of storms. And as you can see already, tomorrow's outlook, which is here on our map, is showing a large area where severe weather is going to be possible. It's going to be hard to kind of not get hit by this. I'm still sorry for Michigan. I need to get you guys I don't know what's going on. I think these are lake borders in the map program that I'm using, and I don't have that toggled on. But Michigan's underneath there somewhere. I promise. Hello. How is everybody doing this afternoon? Are you guys having a good day so far? How has your weekend been so far? It's a March moment, certainly a March moment. Also, folks, if you're not over here on weathercircle.app, we are about to go over the SPC outlook, and we are going to be calling on your names if you are in any of these spots. So make sure that you are posting in weathercircle.app or coming over here and creating a profile now before we get started. And then you come over here to hang out, and then you just come over here. Click post, which is, I still need to fix that. We completely changed the UI, but you come over to here, click post, and then you should be able to post right there. You just type a little something, say hello, or maybe even put a question in there. Maybe I'll click on your bubble and answer that direct question. Yeah, come over here and post on the map, and we will call out your exact area for the SPC outlook. What app? It's weathercircle.app. I'll put it in chat. Wait, I need somebody. Where are my mods at? Shoot. Okay, I have to do it all by myself. That's okay. I have the capability to do that. I can do stuff other than stream. Hold on. That's still getting the thingy-mabobber. There we go. Here is the link. Yeah, I don't think we have any mods in chat, so you guys can go absolutely crazy with no potential consequences. You don't see where to post. You only see the map. Yeah, you come over here to Hangout, click here, and then there will be a little... Unfortunately, I still have to fix this. Need to put the blue background back on this specific button. But you come over here to public hangout, and then you just click post, and then it comes over here. It says create public post. You just type what happens, or anything, really anything. You can say hi, and then you'll pop up on the map. Anything bad looking for Wilmington? Yeah, you guys do have some decent severe weather chances. That's a great time to also put this up. We also have a day 3 outlook out here, and that is going to be 4 portions of Florida going up into Georgia, also South Carolina, North Carolina, including Wilmington, over there near Richmond, Philadelphia, near parts for Pennsylvania, going all the way up there into New York as well. So there is a large area where folks need to be paying attention. What does models look like for Florence, Alabama? We'll be talking about that in just a little bit. I'm just waiting for folks to put their little bubbles on the map and before I move forward. So if you haven't posted here on Weather Circle, come on over. Come on over, say hello, and get your little dot on the map, and we'll make sure that when we go over the SPC outlook, we also call your name out as well. That day 3 is for Tuesday. No, that's for Monday. We got a day 3 categorical enhanced 3 out of 5 risk for a lot of folks out over there. You'll be out on the roads all day at work. Oh no. You live in between Champaign and Decatur. That's Illinois, right? Just sent me a post on Weather Circle, like an actual post. Someone says they are not excited for tomorrow. Why is that making a noise? Hello, hello. Greetings from Vancouver Island. Welcome in, welcome in. We're going to be getting started here in just a minute or so. What are y'all thinking about the new UI? It has sounds now. And it's just a little bit different. We finally got the logo from the app, and we took out all the emojis. You're alone in the St. Louis area? Yeah, you are. You are out here. Wait, why? Interesting. That overrides that. You got sidetrack from Central Illinois? What do you mean? Do I think the tornado risk? You think you will get the tornado risk in New Jersey? We don't have the tornado probs, but I would imagine there'd be some sort of tornado risk back out over there. You always mute sounds? Well, you totally can. One, if you don't have Weather Circle Pro, you're not even going to be able to use the sounds. But there is a button here where you can mute them. You just got to toggle it off. It's under UI sounds in the settings menu. I like the graphics a lot. So clean. Thank you. Yeah, you have to post in the Hangout, which is over here. It's right on the top. It says Hangout. You just post there, and then you come over here to post, which is kind of hard to see right now. I will fix that before tomorrow. How do you add a bubble? You just go to the Hangout and post. For sure, the map looks beautiful. Thank you. I've worked a lot on the map. How's my day? It is good. You did post? Let me see. You might not have okay, so if you post and your bubble doesn't come up, you come over to your profile and just make sure these are clicked. So public profile, share location with post, and notify me. Oh, actually not that one, but just these two are the only two you need for it to work. You're cutting out. Is it your internet or mine? It's probably neither one of our internets. It is YouTube. They are discussing a moderate risk for day 3. Yeah, that'll most likely be for damaging winds. All right, so it seems like we got a lot of folks on the map. So let's go ahead and start breaking some of this stuff down. Let me get this up on the left side. So yeah, as you guys can see, we'll do a little control hide just so everybody else can see at the same time. We do have an enhanced risk out there for severe weather. Also a slight risk for severe weather. That is a 2 out of 5 severe risk there. This is a 3 out of 5. So not maxed out, but definitely a day where you need to be weather aware. And then we've got a 1 out of 5 here in the green, but that's not the important part. The important part is we do have a tornado risk tomorrow, and quite a dangerous one. As you can see, you know, a lot of people have been talking about a 5% tornado risk, which was accurate this morning, but now we have had an upgrade yet again on our tornado risk. And as you can see, we have a large 10% tornado risk out over here for parts of Louisiana, going into Mississippi, also parts of Arkansas, Alabama, talking over there into Western Tennessee, Western Kentucky, and then back over here near Carbondale, just south of Carbondale there in Illinois, and parts of the Boot Hill of Missouri. Folks that are in this 10% risk is AA, Sandy. Looks like Lane is just north of there. But yeah, you know, at 10% basically means that there is a definitely an elevated chance that you will see a tornado within a 25-mile radius of you, and those tornadoes could be strong. That is what this dark hatched cross line means. You know, if you had a 10% but no hatched cross line, that means that, you know, strong tornadoes are pretty much completely out of the possibilities. But 10% chance of seeing a tornado and a 10% chance of it being a strong tornado. Now, back over here towards like Shreveport, we're talking about Night Wolf, Birmingham, Huntsville, Montgomery over there in Alabama, Bama Mom, JC Summer, T1000 Sarah, the Cynical, Matt Indy, Jason, it looks like Jessica's just outside of that 5%. You guys are in a 5% for tornadoes. Now that is, you know, a 5% chance of seeing a tornado within a 25-mile radius of you. And there's also a chance that some of those tornadoes could be strong. Now, as we go further and kind of zoom out further, our tornado probabilities start to drop quite a bit for tomorrow. Again, this is Sunday's forecast. You can see that Tiffany, Michael, Red, Mama Bear, looks like Lava Girl is just inside of a 2% non-hatched, which is just basically almost the same as the 2% hatched region here. Bryn Shelsky, Jacob, I Forgot, Gianna, Morgan, also Jessica and Bentley are all in that 2% hash risk for tornadoes for tomorrow. So if you guys live in these areas, just make sure that you are weather aware. Now, if we come over here to our wind risk, that is when we're talking about probably our biggest impacts. We could potentially see 70 to 80, maybe even some instances of 90-mile-per-hour winds with this line of storms that is going to develop, you know, tomorrow. So, and again, this is most likely going to be an overnight to early morning event, and that's going to go all the way in to Monday. So if you guys live over here in this purple area, that's a 45% chance of 75-mile-per-hour winds and above. So definitely some chances for some power outages there, for tree limbs to fall, for trees themselves to fall. That's going to be AA, Sandy, and Lane again back over here in parts of Indiana, Illinois, the Boot Hill of Missouri, eastern Arkansas, over there into northern Mississippi and western Tennessee and Kentucky. And then around that, we have a 30% chance for those damaging winds of 75 miles per hour and above. That's going to include Bentley, Night Wolf, Ice Cream, the Cynical, Matt Indy, Jason. Looks like Morgan is just outside, but you were in that 15%, and Jessica is back over here in that 30% as well. Also, Sarah, Bama Mom, Forsaken, T1000. You guys are all in a 10% risk for those types of damaging wind. Oh, sorry, that's a 15%. I always get confused a little bit when we're doing these forecasts on the colors and all that. It's kind of hard to have instant recall of it, but I'm working on it. BRSN Hensley, you are in a 15% chance for those 75-mile-per-hour winds and above. Jacob, I Forget, Gianna, Evers Forever, back over here near Morgan. You guys are all in that 15%. Now, everybody else for the day has some chances for some 60-mile-per-hour winds and above, especially down there into Florida as well for tomorrow. Now, we also have a hail risk, and that's mainly going to be relegated down further to the south where we have a little bit better instability. We're talking about Bentley, AA back over there for a 15% chance of seeing 2-inch hail and above. And then everybody else is probably not going to see hail, but you know, you could get some small hail here and there, and maybe some isolated instances of 1-inch hail is possible for folks over there in northern Alabama and central Georgia. Now, going into, well, how should we do this? We'll break it down day by day so it's not too confusing. So let me go ahead and get up my models here. Actually, let me see if we can just do it on Weather Circle. So let's take that off, and then we'll hide you guys for, oops. We'll go ahead and hide you guys for now so that, you know, we can see what the models are doing, and then we'll come over to our actually, no. We'll come back over for the timing, but I think it'd just be better to do it on Pivotal Weather so we can compare and contrast models. But all right, let's come over to Pivotal Weather real quick, and then we'll kind of look at the environment and why this storm is happening, and then we'll go over the timing. So, and then we'll go back and where all of you guys have posted, and you can see the timing for your area. But yeah, so let's go over to our, we'll go as national for now, and then we'll use the Euro model. There we go. And then we'll just kind of look at the broad pattern here first. The reason why all of this is happening is mainly because we're about to have a big, pretty decently large low pressure system come out of the northern United States, or kind of into the northern United States, kind of from Canada. And you can see this big blue area. That is our low pressure system. And essentially what happens when you have a low pressure system like this is it kind of mixes the air across the entirety of the United States. And when that happens, you can get some increased moisture out of the Gulf, especially when you have a high pressure system over here. The winds around the high pressure are moving just like this, and the winds around the low pressure are moving just like this. So you can see we're going to definitely have increased flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. But the problem, one of the issues with this setup is that because we just had some low pressure systems come through here and scrape all of the moisture out of the United States, this storm is not going to have really as long as time, because it's gonna be a pretty quick hitting storm to really build that moisture back up. So there's a good chance that we're not going to really see sufficient moisture for like a standard kind of tornado, severe weather outbreak kind of day. So this is most likely going to be a low instability, high shear environment. And what that means is that, we could still get some tornadoes, some brief spin up tornadoes, and a couple of those could be strong, but we're not going to see a lot of those discrete cells like the one we saw in Illinois and Indiana last week, where, we had a large tornado was on the ground for multiple hours. So it is going to be a little bit of a different setup, but we'll be going over that. But generally, obviously, the pattern is supportive here. This is going to be bringing some cooler air. We're going to have moisture wrap around the backside of our storm, and that's going to cause some snow out there as well. So we're not only talking about blizzard conditions, we're also talking about severe weather. So a lot to go over with this storm. If I continue to push this forward, you can see that low pressure system only deepens as we go into about Monday at 10 a.m. and then eventually kind of moves off to the north and east. But as this deepens, you can see that our wind barbs, especially on the eastern side, are very close together. That is going to be helping our severe risk bring in some stronger winds out in front of our storm. So again, these tight pressure gradients, that causes strong winds. Because it kind of forces the air near the surface to move, and it's going to move pretty rapidly here with this storm. Let me make sure I clear this out. There we go, so we can see the screen. Yeah, that's a general low pressure, high pressure pattern that we're gonna have with this storm. Now, another thing that we need to, in order to complete our severe weather picture, is also looking at our 500 millibar winds. And you can see as our trough ejects going into Sunday night, we really see the strongest portion of our jet, which is back over here into Colorado at around 10 a.m. on the 15th. You can see how fast that ejects across here. Now, if we had a lot of moisture, this would be a full-blown tornado outbreak. We got a negatively tilted trough, very strong winds aloft, and this could still be a tornado outbreak. Just probably more commonly the briefer and weaker tornadoes, with a couple of them being strong. But a very powerful upper level jet push into the United States. I mean, this is on the upper echelon of strength when it comes to the upper level jet when we're in severe weather season. And then as we continue to push that forward, you can see that eventually meanders off to the east. But focusing strictly on Sunday here, you can see our trough ejects. We get that forcing. We have the spreading apart of the wind vectors. That's going to be right around that frontal boundary, and that's going to cause restorers to fire. Those are going to reach up into the 850 millibar range, where we have even some also pretty strong winds there as well. So if those storms mature, which they will likely will, and they mix with that moisture and that cooler and drier air on the backside, we can see a lot of thunderstorms fire along our frontal boundary. And in any of those storms that fire and reach up, why are people spamming in chat? Did I do something wrong? It's like my mic muted. You got a spammer? Where's our mods? Shoot. I'm turning it to subscriber only mode. I don't think we have any mods. Yeah, none of our mods are here. Rip. All right. I turned it on to subscriber only mode. I don't think bots can subscribe. But yeah, if any of these storms can, get mature and tap into and bring those lower level winds down to the surface, that is why we are seeing such a large area and such a significant possibility for widespread damaging winds. Not only are our pressure gradients are going to be really close, but also we are going to have some strong winds aloft. And if those thunderstorms, when they have those downdrafts, they can bring those stronger winds down to the surface. And so everything is kind of together here. Also, we are also going to have some pretty strong lower level shear. When you have stronger lower level shear, you can have an increased tornado threat as well. So very strong lower level shear, very powerful trough, very strong upper level shear. So, most of the boxes are ticked for like a widespread super outbreak, right? And kind of not really. Maybe we could have an outbreak of briefer and weaker tornadoes, and potentially a lot of them. I mean, we could be talking about 40 to 60 of those types of tornadoes. But we do have a limiting factor and a couple limiting factors. So it's not as cut and dry. So one of the things that is kind of limiting here is our dew points. Now, they're not gonna be that high. As you can see, we have our 60-degree dew points further down to our south. That's why our hail risk is further down to the south. And as I push this forward, you can see that our 60-degree dew points never even really reach anywhere further north than the Boot Hill of Missouri. And it's a very skinny warm sector here. If I draw with the thing here, you can see that is our warm sector right there. Typically with what we would call like a discrete cell, very worried about type of storm, we would usually have a warm sector that is like this big and reaching all the way up into Michigan, but that is not what we have with this storm. So we do have some problems near the surface. Again, that there's a couple of low pressure systems that have come in before that have pretty much scraped all of our moisture, and this storm is kind of ejecting just a little bit too far north to really pull that moisture all the way up and advecting it up to the north. Now, this is a problem, but it won't completely limit our storm from being able to produce damaging winds and also to produce tornadoes. Because even when you have higher shear, one of the things that can happen, and let me see if I have the ability to look at this with this. We do not. All right, so I have to go to a different model. Let's come over to our HRRR model really quick. There we go. And then severe weather. Perfect. So actually, we'll go over the instability first. So as our dew points are going to be a little bit lower, we are also going to have a very skinny area where 1,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE is going to be. Now, this is definitely going to be a problem for some areas out here in terms of that severity. But again, with those really strong winds aloft and then bringing those winds down to the surface, that is definitely still going to be bringing the likelihood of some very strong and damaging winds, even in a minimal CAPE environment. All you really need are for storms to get mature. And one of the things that does provide buoyancy for these storms is that instability. When you have more heating and more moisture, the air is more buoyant. But another thing that can help with buoyancy that a lot of people don't really talk about is storm relative helicity, because it can cause just a little bit more lift along the leading edges of these thunderstorms. And if I come over here and show you guys our storm relative helicity for this time, you can see that it's not too strong down there into the south, which isn't really going to be that helpful or non-helpful for thunderstorms, as we do have plenty of instability down there. You could definitely have tornado risk exist into Louisiana, Arkansas, going into northern Mississippi, maybe a little bit more of a conventional one if we can get more discrete supercells. But up there where our instability is lacking, our SRH is not going to be. You can see along the leading edge of our line, we could have anywhere from 300 to 400 storm relative helicity. So this is going to kind of make up for some of that buoyancy lost further up to the north, which will allow those storms to also spin and also cause a tornado. So as you can see, in comparison to all of our other storms, every single storm has its own individual stories and own individual different types of parameters that are good for it and not good for it. That's why we go over all of these different things so that you guys can understand step by step why not every storm is the same. It's not as simple as showing a graphic and being like, hey, watch out. There are little tiny details in there that I think if everybody could at least get partially understanding of, can get a better understanding of like what is possible with each and every storm. But yeah, so that's pretty much the environment. Very strong upper level wind dynamics. A lot of SRH in the northern mode, so not as much instability, but potentially enough storm relative velocities to still help these storms produce tornadoes, even with very minimal cape. So that's for that. So that again is going to be for Friday. So let's come over to our forecast models here. Our latest HRRR. Uh-oh. Why isn't this working? Shoot. No, the post bubbles. Not defined. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. We'll do a general timing and then we'll do it again if I can get this fixed fast enough. But that seems like a pretty bad problem there. Hold on. All right. So yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to do it the dumb way, the annoying way, which is fine, I guess. This takes a little bit longer. Maybe I can't answer anybody's, but I'll get it done before the end of the stream. I do believe. We'll start over here in the Midwest, and then we'll go to every sector and just go over the timing independently there. But let's go over to the surface precipitation. Pull up yeah, okay. So with our storm going into Sunday morning, gonna have some precipitation, likely some snow further up to the north. And then eventually, as we push into around 9 a.m., we could have some thunderstorms develop over there. And then going into around 12 p.m., you can see that is when our line starts to fire. And as you can tell, further up to the north, it doesn't really look too crazy on the HRRR. But again, if any of the pockets of these storms mature, that's going to be able to bring those very strong winds down to the surface. So we're talking about these storms starting off at around 3 to 4 p.m. and then they're continuing off to the east and continuing to mature as we go into eastern Illinois by 6 p.m. over there into western Indiana by 7 p.m. and then back over here in central Indiana and eastern Indiana by around 10 p.m. So as you can see, definitely a strong line of storms, and inside of those storms we could have, the potential for some tornadoes, some rotation along the leading edge. So just make sure that you guys are weather aware in our northern mode. And then as we go into overnight in the morning hours, you can see that these storms eventually, let me get myself out of the way so Ohio can see their state, eventually make it into Ohio in the early morning hours by around 12 a.m. on Monday, and then should be exiting the state by 5 a.m. You can see our line isn't as strong, but again, our storms are going to recharge going into Sunday. Let's bring this over to a different sector. We'll come down a little bit further to the south over here in the Arkansas, Missouri area. So yeah, for down further to the south by around 2 p.m. we could have some storms trying to fire. And then as we move into 4 p.m. you can see that line extends all the way down into southeastern Missouri over there into northeastern Arkansas. And then this continues to mature as we go into 6 p.m. over there into southeastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, eastern Illinois, all the way down to the south. I just figured that we could just have done this sector the whole entire time. I talked about everywhere. 8 p.m. our storms start to move into northern Mississippi, over getting pretty close over there to Clarksville and also in parts of Kentucky as well. And then continuing to push this into 10 p.m. you can see we're talking about northwestern Alabama over there into central Tennessee. That talking about near Nashville, over there near Bowling Green, Kentucky by 10 p.m. as well. And then as I continue to push this to the east, you can see that our storms are still holding a decent amount of strength, maybe some chances for some prefrontal supercells out in front of this. Probably a low chance given that our instability is really falling apart here. And then as we go into the overnight hours into around 4 p.m. we can still have some pretty strong storms over here into southeastern Alabama, back up here into Georgia by 4 a.m. and then by 6 p.m. we are getting charged up for the next day, and we'll be talking about that in just a second. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so this should be working now. Please. All right. Let me hide all these and then go over to forecast models. Still doing it. Do a hard refresh. Give me just one moment, folks. No one's even come up to me and told me that the models were broken. Do y'all not use the models on the app? Uh, okay, it's still not ready. All right, so let's go ahead and then go over in deep detail the next day, which is going to be Monday. So on Monday, we also have a marginal risk for severe weather all the way down here to Florida. A slight risk for severe weather that goes all the way from, Florida all the way up into New York, and then that marginal risk goes up into New York as well, encompassing parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, over there into North Carolina and Virginia. And then back over here, we have a lot of folks that are in our enhanced risk for severe weather. This is a 3 out of 5 for severe weather. So you guys definitely need to be paying attention to that. We come over to our probabilities. Now, we don't have a tornado risk breakdown or a specific damaging wind breakdown or a specific hail risk breakdown for today, but we can generally talk about who is going to see significant severe weather. And the area that our models are really pointing to is going to be back over here into South Carolina, parts of North Carolina, going into Virginia, and also Maryland as well. We're talking about Bella Smiles, DMV R1. You were mad for some reason about missing the last time you guys had severe weather. Looks like you have a pretty darn good chance, a 45% chance of getting hit by this one. Just probably going to be not the kind of storm that you want, but you seemed pretty upset that the last one missed you. Further down to the south over there near Monkey Girl, Red Hide, Tiffany, and then Mike, you guys are in a 30% chance. Also Mad Magpie and Alfred Panda, you are also in a 30% chance for some significant severe weather on Monday. Carrie, you have a 15% chance, and then all you guys over there in Georgia, we got like almost what it seems like neighbors have assembled out over here near Atlanta. You guys are all out of that significant risk, but do have a 15% chance for now for some severe weather. And then Lawton, Chessie, and John, you guys are in a 5% for some severe weather. Then back over here, Robbie Rob, he says, happy Sunday. Hello, hello. You are also in that 5% for damaging winds, but the biggest chances are going to be back over here, really from Florida going through Georgia, most of South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, almost all of Maryland, all of Delaware, most of New Jersey, all of eastern Pennsylvania, just a little sliver there of southern New York. So again, 2 days where you guys definitely want to be weather aware. So we've already kind of gone over the synoptics of tomorrow, but let's go ahead and hop over here. So I'm keeping my camera off so you guys can see the full map. I will turn it back on once we go into more question mode for individual states, as it seems like we might have to answer those. Okay, we'll go back to national, just do a brief overview of what tomorrow's ingredients are going to be like. So yeah, you can see that by the time we get into 6 a.m. on the 16th, our line of storms is continuing to push over to the east, and our upper level winds are still very strong as we move, as this storm kind of comes in. Right after the, I mean, this is the same storm, but as it comes in for Monday. And then as we look at our lower level winds right there along the coast where all of those colors were on our SPC outlook is where our strongest lower level shear. So any storms that can fire and mature along that line are going to be able to bring those stronger winds of up to 60 to 70 miles per hour, potentially even higher, down to the surface. And that is going to cause, a problem out there. And then also a difference between our, Sunday and Monday is also our moisture content. If we come over here to our dew points, you can see that at least from Georgia going into South Carolina, and then eventually over there into Eastern Virginia, Maryland, over there into Pennsylvania, we actually have a pretty wide area of where we have a lot of moisture for these storms. So a little bit of a better moisture environment, which also means that we got to watch out for maybe a couple more types or a couple more tornadoes, or maybe the same amount of type of tornado event with maybe a couple more discrete supercells being possible. Really just depends on how the atmosphere comes together the day of. Now, we don't have a whole bunch of models, unfortunately, to compare against, but we do have the Rufus model and the NAM model and a couple of other models. So let's go ahead and pull up the Rufus and also compare. Yeah, you can see all the models are kind of indicating that we are going to have plenty of moisture. When coming over to our surface-based instability, you can also see, it's a little bit on the lacking side. But by the time we get into 2 p.m., there's a little bit of a time where we have, a large area down to further to the south of 1,000 joules per kilogram, going all the way up into the northeast of, still enough Cape to cause plenty of tornadoes and a lot of damaging wind reports. Because again, those lower level winds are so strong. If we come over here to the thing that can help when we have a lack of lower level instability is our storm relative helicity. And you can see earlier on, it's pretty maxed out, maybe not as strong, but could definitely see maybe an increase of a tornado threat as we move into about 3 p.m. On the 16th on Monday, as all of our, SRH parameters are really starting to increase at that time. You can really see that orange transitioning into that red and that purple. That is indicating our SRH around the leading edge of our storm is really picking up, and that's going to make up for the lack of instability further up to the north. And we also have plenty of storm relative helicity further down to the south as well for other storms to try to rotate and produce tornadoes. So first, let me just double check to make sure my latest fix did not fix the models. The app is having a trouble. Okay, it sees it, but it's not. It says HRRR data not available. Okay, it's not a backend problem. I don't know what's causing that. I apologize. But yeah, so generally the environment is pretty favorable. It's going to be pretty favorable for severe weather going into the East Coast. So let's go over and look at our timing now. And we'll look at the timing for different areas just so we are a little bit more zoomed in, and then we'll answer questions after that. We'll go here, and then we'll start off with like the northeast, like right here in this area. Come on now. There we go. All right, let's bring this all the way back to the beginning of the day. So starting off early, Ohio's going to be dealing with that line of storms, and that's going to make its all the way down through into Alabama. And then eventually, as we go throughout the day, there are some storms that do try to fire prefrontally as we go into around 8 a.m. But those are probably going to struggle given the fact that, our SRH hasn't started to pick up yet further up to the north. And our instability is still relegated further down to the south. So we're talking about 10 a.m., some pop-up thunderstorms, not really a whole lot going on until we get into about 1 p.m. That's when our storms further down to the south really start to pick up into that instability. Our SRH starts to pick up a little bit down there as well. And then as we go into like 2, 3 p.m., that's when we're really going to start to see the northern storms start to really pick up. As that SRH increases, you can see that so does our convective coverage. We could have a lot of Boeing segments out here with widespread damaging wind risk. These storms will be maturing in an environment that can bring some strong winds down to the surface. So if you live anywhere from, central Maryland all the way into eastern Pennsylvania, also back over here into central North Carolina at these times, all areas of this storm are going to have, some tornado potential, with maybe a lack of tornado potential being right here. But then further down to the south, we have a little bit more instability, and then further up to the north, that SRH is going to make up for it. And then as we go into 5 p.m., our storms are over there near Philadelphia, back over there near Baltimore as well, talking about near Washington, D.C., all the way down into near Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. That's 5 p.m. And then by 7 p.m., we have that line kind of fizzling further up to the north, but we still have some strong storms near Delaware and Maryland. And then all the way down into North Carolina, you can see that we have a couple of strong storms still along that line. And then back over here into eastern North Carolina, we might even have some discrete cells out there that need to be watched at this time. As I continue to push this further into the future, you can see that most of our storms are out of our hair by 11 p.m. Now, let me move this down just a little bit further to the south, because there is something that I want to talk about over for Florida that we haven't really gone over in much detail yet. So starting at 6 a.m., you can see that we do have this frontal boundary extending all the way to the south. So this right here is our frontal boundary. Might have some spin ups along that, but out in front of our frontal boundary, look at this area right here. You already see a couple of discrete cells on the southern side of our storm. We have plenty of instability down here, but the main question is whether or not our lower level shear is actually going to be favorable for tornadoes down here. And as you can see, we're talking about 30 to 40 knots, which is definitely favorable. Our upper level shear is there. We do have spreading apart of our wind vectors very gently there, which might be why we're seeing a bunch of discrete supercells out over the open ocean. And what we're concerned about is that, we could get a lot of water spouts. Big water spout outbreak is possible. And then also, if those water spouts make it onto shore in Florida, that is definitely going to be a big problem, as we could see a lot of tornadoes end up on the shore. So monitoring this model trend, we still have a couple of moments until this happens. But we're talking about Sunday. Today is our Monday morning. Today is currently Saturday. So, but yeah, that definitely concerns me. We do have enough lower level shear to definitely support some water spouts here. Now watch as I push this forward. You can see that we just get a lot of these cells develop out into the ocean. Now it's kind of hard to tell how many of these are going to try to make it to shore. But that's the thing that we're going to be monitoring, especially over there near like Panama City. If any of these fire near the shore and move over the shore, the environment supports a tornado threat along the shore as well. And some of those might continue further inland as well as we go into around 10 a.m. on Monday. So this is going to be an overnight threat. Mainly, we could still have some little brief spin ups along our line at this time, but this is mainly going to be down over here into the panhandle of Florida, where these water spouts will be possible. And then moving into 1 p.m., we have even more storms fire over there into southeastern Florida, and eventually all of these come into land. But by that time, it's not a really favorable environment. Not a whole lot of forcing. The forcing, thankfully, leaves our storm behind. But we could have some severe weather reports and maybe a couple of brief tornadoes as that pushes all the way down into southern Florida as we get into around 4 through 7 p.m. So the question is, do any of these water spouts make it into shore? That is the main question. Technically, the environment supports that possibility. So I would definitely be keeping an eye for a little bit more discrete development back out way far south, removed from most of our most damaging portion of our storm. All right. All right, so we can answer questions about specific states if we still have questions. Everybody spam your state down below. I will pick the first one and then we'll just go one by one. Wind event in Tennessee. Absolutely. Let's see here. I see Tennessee. I'm seeing Tennessee a lot. I see Virginia quite a bit. See Mississippi. We got Alabamians in here. We have Tennessee, Mississippi's. Lots of Tennessees in the chat. Shout out to the Tennessees. I was actually born in Tullahoma, Massachusetts, Virginia. Okay, so Tennessee is definitely the most spammed. I think Florida is a close second. And then we got Virginia as a close third. So we'll start off with Tennessee. We'll go over to Alabama and then Virginia after that. Let's see who else we have in chat. We got Floridians in chat, Michigan, North Carolinians, Pennsylvanians, Pennsylvaniites, Georgians, Ohio. We got someone from Ohio here. You brought your Kango from a rancher in Tullahoma. Nice. All right, so we'll start off with Tennessee first. Let's come over here, back over. I think Kentucky's technically in this, so we'll do Tennessee and Kentucky next. So for Tennessee in particular, we're talking about 8 p.m. on the 15th over there near Bartlett, near Jackson. By 9 p.m. back over here near Clarksville, we're talking about 10 p.m. Columbia, Nashville, 10 p.m. That's around the point where our damaging wind threat is definitely going to be the highest. After 11 p.m., it's going to slowly tick down, but still could get some damaging wind reports going into 12 a.m. over there near Cookeville, Chattanooga, Somerset, Lexington, back over here near Knoxville. And then by the time we go into 4 a.m., talking about Huntington, Pikeville, and Johnson City there as well. Now let's come over here to Alabama. We had a lot of folks from Alabama. We'll also talk about Mississippi as well. Our storms fire and start to move in the Mississippi area by around 8 p.m. over there near Greenville, South Haven. And then by 9 p.m., we're talking just to the south and east of Greenville. 10 p.m., Natchez, Jackson, Tupelo getting hit. 11 p.m., Florence gets hit just east of Jackson, heading into Natchez, about moving down near Baton Rouge as well. Hattiesburg, Meridian, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham. in Huntsville by 12 a.m. Birmingham now completely getting hit by around 1 a.m. Gadsden by 1 a.m. And then over there near Montgomery, Monroeville, 4 a.m. Mobile as well. And then we're starting to really watch out for that southern tornado threat by the time we get into 6 a.m. Lagrange, Peachtree City, Columbus over there into Dothan as well. So now let's go over to Virginia. Where is Virginia? Wow, we can't. Can we really not get only Virginia? I ain't gonna break. Okay, this one's the closest one we have. It's like okay, so we'll do Virginia and North Carolina. All right, so moving into around 5 a.m. on the 16th, Western Virginia up into the mountainous regions are definitely going to be getting some damaging winds there. And everything kind of settles down for most of North Carolina and Virginia until we start to get into around 12 p.m. Talking about Charlotte over there near Roanoke as well. Could see some storms there, maybe even some tornadic potential early on, but it'll likely be mostly a damaging wind threat, but I wouldn't rule out a couple of tornado warnings at this point. Now moving into 12 p.m., we start to see our storms move past Greensboro and move more into like the Washington, D.C. area over there near Richmond by 4 p.m. And then Raleigh and Fayetteville by the time we get into 5 p.m. there. Richmond is still getting some rain, potentially a flooding threat over there near Richmond to watch out for. And then as we continue to push this off to the east, we're talking over there near Greenville, Jacksonville, Wilmington, just west of Virginia Beach as well. Our line of storms is going to be coming through and maybe get some little prefrontal storms over there in eastern North Carolina as we get into 8 p.m. So again, if you guys live out here, I'll definitely be watching out for those damaging wind threats. That's definitely going to be our highest threat. We can also get a couple of tornadoes, and maybe some of them could be strong, especially if we get some prefrontal activity over here into eastern North Carolina, over there into Virginia Beach, and maybe a line segment like this just southeast of Washington, D.C. in the Maryland area could promote a strong tornado risk up there embedded in the line as well. What are the chances for a 15% tour for Alabama tomorrow? I would say 0. I think there's a 0% chance that happens. But yeah, that is that. I'll be looking out for questions. Yeah, if we go over to Alabama again, we'll look at the environment. So as the storm moves into northern Alabama, you can see we're mainly dealing with the line segment. Now, we'll probably have a decent chance for some damaging winds. But our dew points at this time are a little bit low in northern Alabama. Southern Alabama, though, could have some stronger winds, maybe a little bit of a stronger tornado potential. And if we come over here to our SB Cape and surface winds crossover, you can see that we're only talking about 700 joules per kilogram up here in northern Alabama, but we have perpendicular winds and some pretty strong upper level winds. Our lower level winds are particularly weak in northern Alabama and also very weak in southern Alabama. So, well, actually, sorry, that's not our lower level winds. That's our surface winds. Sorry. Our upper level and lower level winds are strong, but they're mostly parallel, it looks like. Further down to the south, they get more perpendicular, which is why we're a little bit, you see this green arrow, this blue arrow is like almost at a 45-degree angle from this black little arrow or flag. That indicates that we have more perpendicular winds. If we go further up to the north, you can see the blue and black flag are pretty much right next to each other, pointing in the same direction, adding for more of parallel winds, which is more favorable for some damaging winds. Still could get some brief spin ups, especially given the strong amount of shear and storm relative velocity that we'll have. But you can see down here, as those cells are developing out in the ocean, we have a lot of perpendicularity, which means a little T with our winds. But yeah, generally, it is looking like a pretty dangerous day out there. For damaging winds for the most part. I don't think a 15% tornado risk is going to be possible. I think a 60% damaging winds is on the table for the SPC. I think there's still a little bit of uncertainty. Maybe by tonight, like going into tomorrow morning, they could upgrade it. Or maybe they'll upgrade it tomorrow morning when they have a little bit more certainty as our mesoscale analysis data and our soundings start to come in. Did you just call me Ryan? Do I look like Ryan to you? Do I look like I steal other people's app ideas? All right, the one that uses the zapper booting. Okay, what? Can you please post the weather circle link for those that do not have it? I think I still have it as my copy pasta. I do not. Hold on. I did post it. Shoot. Weather circle.app. Let me get that link for you guys. Okay, here is the link. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let me see if my models are working. Ooh. Please work. What? Backend only has data from December 9th? Hasn't been updated in 3 months? That's not right. I don't know. It's weird. I haven't been having issues with models like at all. It's like oh, I know. I know what's happening. Over in Florida, you guys want timing over there? Yeah, let's look at it. What's Chazzy Boy doing? He's just laying on the ground looking at me like I heard him. He's like, how dare you go live and not give me pads? Now we'll go over to the composite reflectivity. And we'll bring it all the way back. So yeah, some thunderstorms are definitely possible. Sunday afternoon. These will likely not be like overly tornadic. But you guys could definitely get some severe weather with that. Maybe if there's some sort of like inshore wind, you maybe could see like 1 or 2 spin ups possible. And then yeah, at around 7 a.m. we're going to be watching for those discrete cells to really start to develop out here, and we're going to be watching for them to have potential to come into the Panama City sometime in between 10 and 9 a.m. Then you get more of that frontal boundary move through by around 9 a.m. And then as we continue to push this forward, you can see that some supercells try to develop off of the coast over here near Tallahassee and Gainesville. That's at around 9 a.m. And then eventually we see just this big old line of storms try to make it through, kind of falling apart by the time it gets into Florida by 9 p.m. on the 16th. And then that kind of moves off to the east. So your guys' main threat is going to be starting kind of in the afternoon of Florida, and then into the early morning hours on the 16th or Monday, going from around 6 to around 2 p.m. And then maybe still could see some like supercellular activity and some severe weather over there near Jacksonville by 3 p.m. on Monday. You've had storm fatigue in Mississippi. Yeah, let's go over Mississippi's. No, we already went over Mississippi's timing. Oh, yeah, let's talk about DC. We can do that. But yeah, back over here for like Maryland and DC. We can go over that timing as well. Come on. You can also be having problems. Maybe do a refresh. There we go. So yeah, as early as 11 a.m. could have some rain and showers come through. This is not going to be the main threat. The main threat is going to be as that storm relative velocity picks up as we go into around 2 to 3 p.m. up here further up to the north and east. You can see we get a pretty strong line of storms that exists all the way from like Frederick near Germantown, Centerville, over there near Fredericksburg as well by 3 p.m. Moving into 4 p.m. You know, all these little areas inside of this line are going to have some potential for some spin and also some potential for some tornadoes. This is also going to be carrying some 60 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts inside of it. So a lot of folks do need to be paying attention to that if these storms can be mature. By Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Waldrop over there near Short Pump, by 4 p.m. on Monday. And then as we move into 5 p.m., we're talking about South Bel Air, Annapolis, Lexington Park. And then by the time we go into 6 p.m., potentially a pretty strong Boeing segment and severe risk over here near like Lexington Park, Salisbury, over there near Dover and Bridgeton as well, as we move into around 8 p.m. And then after 8 p.m., most of Virginia and Maryland and Delaware should be free of the strongest storms. Is it a 2% for Sunday? Models aren't showing anything for us. Sunday, Southern Virginia. Let me see. I mean, you get some pretty strong storms over there near Richmond, and you get a Boeing segment go through Richmond as well. Some pretty strong, potentially a pretty strong cold pool surge, which could definitely cause a tornado and maybe even a strong one in this environment. I mean, you got a lot of portions of our lines that have bow echoes on it, so definitely some strong winds are going to be possible all the way, and you can have some spin ups in those strong winds. So yeah, I mean, Southern Virginia definitely has a tornado threat. There's no SPC outlook for Virginia yet. This is for Monday. So when we come over here to Weather Circle and bring up our severe weather outlook for day 2, you can see that, yes, you guys are not even barely in a 2% there, but that will change with our day 3 outlook. You will likely have a conditional chance for strong tornadoes and a pretty significant damaging wind risk all the way from Maryland down into South Carolina. Again, our East Coast threat is mainly for Monday. Most of our, southeast going into the Midwest threat over there near the Great Lakes is going to be on Sunday. Hey, Help's here. Nice of you to join us, Help. Please tell me. I know all the data is in our back end. I know for a fact it is. But it's still not doing it. What about tornadoes in Raleigh, North Carolina? Yeah, we can go back and checking out that threat. So yeah, Raleigh is going to be right around 5 p.m. I do think there's probably going to be a 5 or 10% hatched risk for tornadoes out here. So I would definitely be watching out for that tornado threat. And also damaging winds, though. That should be the main thing on your mind. We could see a lot of people without power if these storms really are this mature as we go into the later night portions here on Monday. I mean, we're talking about 5 p.m. over there near Raleigh and Fayetteville, Greenville, 8 p.m. near Jacksonville, and then just south of Virginia Beach and over Virginia Beach by 9 p.m. Also talking about over there near Cape Hatteras as well, 10 p.m. So a lot of little Boeing segments inside of our storm indicating cold pool surges. And when you get those cold pool surges, that's when we also start to look for those rotations on the northern edge of those, where we can see a lot of tornadoes happen like that. Really starting, around 2 p.m. and going all the way until about 10 p.m. for most of North Carolina and Virginia. You saw someone in Greenland? Is there really? That's got to be geo-spoofed, right? No, there's no one in Greenland. Has SBC ever had maxed out levels with max intensity for six? No, the intensity thing is new. So we have never had maxed out levels for tornadoes in terms of probability and intensity yet, because they just now started to differentiate those a lot. How does Charlottesville, Virginia? So there's Charlottesville. It looks like you guys are going to be in the storms that are around 1 p.m. On Monday. And in terms of your day 3 risk, over there near Charlottesville, you are an enhanced risk and you have a pretty high probability, about a 45% chance of seeing some significant severe weather, which is very elevated. And again, that's mostly going to be for damaging winds, but we probably will have that potential for embedded tornadoes inside of those bow echoes. So I would definitely be pretty weather aware as we go into Monday. Snow totals. Man, you guys really want to talk about snow? Some of you do. I might talk about it. Did a really good job on the app. I love the sound effects. Also, the UI is dope. Thank you. Can I do New York City? Sure. We can do a little, the little city of New York City. We shouldn't be getting it from the tunnel. Oh, I see. Air tunnel causing the entire ship to throw. Never assigned. Fixed by. Where did that fix go into? Oh, this circle. Oh, okay. I see. All right. Now it should work. Please. Yay. All right. Let's get that composite reflectivity up. Oh, wait. I'm going to have to do this really quick. And then do forecast models. And then we'll do 18Z. And then composite reflectivity. You feel like you're in a video game? That was the whole point. That was the whole point. I made it very video game like. What's that noise? That's the new noises on Weather Circle. All right. So yeah, if you guys haven't posted in a while on Weather Circle, try posting again. I got the models working so we can actually talk about timing for your exact location. Brenda says Pulaski, Tennessee. What about Pulaski? You're over there in Alabama. Liar. Physically exhausted from the freezing temps alone. Are they bad? All right, see you later, Regina. It started snowing in the Twin Cities. Hopefully we get 2 feet. Dang. Y'all are getting it good. Massachusetts is going to get severe weather on Monday. Massachusetts definitely could, I believe. No. Well, yeah, it's a pretty low chance. Back over here near like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a little chance there. As we move into Monday, 6 a.m. And it should end by around 12 p.m. And the HRRR unfortunately doesn't go all the way out there. So we'll have more answers for you for tomorrow. Is Massachusetts gonna get? I already read that, but you live in Minnesota? Nice. We could get snow on the backside of our snow, of our storm, all the way south into. All right, let's talk about the snow. I don't like talking about snow because it just gets old to me so fast as I'm from the southeast. Wow. Okay. So yeah, looks like starting at around Saturday 1 a.m. we're gonna have a widespread band really making its way all the way from Michigan up into Wisconsin, Minnesota, over there in North and South Dakota, with our heaviest bands to be back over here just east of Pierre, St. Paul, that's Minnesota, Rochester, Wasau, Greenville, Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, and Muskegon. And then as I continue to push this forward, you can see that our snow band gets a lot heavier. Back over here near St. Paul, Wasau, Green Bay, and Saginaw. That's again Sunday at 7 a.m. and then that continues into 10 a.m. Going into 2 p.m. Potentially even some sleet and freezing rain possible over there near Green Bay, south of Wasau. And then this continues even further into the Michigan peninsula there as well. And then we can see even some flakes possible as far south as northern Missouri. And then check this out. As we go into Monday, 3 a.m., we could potentially see a band of snow reach all the way down from Kentucky through Nashville and potentially into northern Alabama. Now, I wouldn't get your hopes up, especially into March. We see these little signals disappear all the time, but even some flurries could make it all the way down into northern Alabama as well. So a large area where flurries can be possible and maybe a little bit of accumulation. And yeah. The big winter chicken dinner is going to be up here. Unfortunately, we don't have like, yeah, our biggest snow is definitely going to be over here into northern Wisconsin, going into the UP of Michigan, where 30 to 40 inches could be possible up there. It's kind of insane. I don't think my inspector tool is working right now. Yeah, I still got to fix that.
A winter storm warning has been issued for these areas.
We can even see accumulations as far south as like northern Alabama with a dusting, maybe getting close to like a half an inch over there near Nashville, maybe up to an inch near Frankfurt. But yeah, I mean, you can see pretty clearly who wins in terms of the most friggin' snow. Yeah, let's go back to timing. All right, we're going to do timing one more time because we have a lot of posts on the map for the storms. All right, so back over here. All right, so our line of storms should start by around Sunday, 3 p.m. Talking about over there near Peoria, St. Charles, Bellevue, Poplar Bluff, back over here near Jessica, near D-Benz, Texarkana. That line of storms is going to be starting. It's not going to be as intense as it can be. Those winds will probably pick up after they move past you, Jessica. Going to go through Peoria, Springfield, St. Louis, potentially with some pretty strong winds there, Little Rock as well. And then as we move into around 6 p.m., this is when our line of storms is really getting pretty strong. We're talking about over here just near Kankakee, back over there near Paducah by 6 p.m., Memphis, El Dorado, going into Texas, Nacogdoches and Lufkin. And then as I continue to push this forward, we're talking about Rotterdam by 7 p.m., Cary as well. Storm's going to be very close to you by 7 p.m. As we move into 9 p.m., just to the west of Nashville, over Sandy, Tupelo, Jackson, over there near Port Arthur as well. And then back up a little bit further up to the north, talking about Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, and Bloomington. Again, strong winds will be happening still. The potential for strong tornadoes will be happening here as well. And some tornadoes really all the way up from south to north on our line of storm, on this big old line of storms, stretching all the way from Houston up into Canada. And then as I continue to push this forward, you can see Ice Cream, Brenda, and Jackson Pro. You guys are going to be in between 10 and 11 p.m. on Sunday. And then Jacob as well, as we move into 11 p.m. Roadrunner, you're probably just going to get a lot of rain up there and potentially some snow later on there in Michigan. And then as I continue to push this forward by 2 a.m. over there near Storm Spotter, he says, we in a tornado risk for tomorrow. That is true. You certainly are. And that's going to be around 1 a.m. Also Bryson by 1 a.m. over there in Kentucky. Then our storm continues off to the east. Gabriel, Avery by 4 a.m. T1000 by 4 a.m. And then further up to the north, let's push this through again. Rachel, you're going to be getting mostly rain by 6 a.m. And then our storms are recharging for the next day. And Tiffany and Michelle, you'll probably see some damaging winds, but the tornado risk probably won't be too high until or really at all for you guys. But then Ati over there, Alfred Panda, you guys are kind of right at the beginning of where I really do think our line of storms is going to be getting more intense as we move into Monday, 1 p.m., eventually moving further throughout the day. And again, unfortunately, we'll have to go look at a different model for Adria, and Maddie, but a couple hours from this point, you guys are going to have that potential, actually even for some discrete cells over there near Virginia Beach, and then also some pretty strong storms over there near Mad Maggie as we go into like 4 or 5 p.m. Up over there. But yeah, that is I mean, it's a pretty powerful storm. Let me take off all the bubbles and just kind of see if my animations still work. They do. That's great. But you can see, I mean, you know, all that cold air coming down from Canada, mixing with all that warm air. We're going to have that snow on the northern side. And we really just get this big old line of storms. I mean, the good news is with the amount of shear that we're going to have, we're really not going to be talking about anything like, you know, like huge discrete supercells. But, you know, with how strong some of our winds could be, you could definitely still get some strong tornadoes along the leading edge of the line. So that's what really concerns me about this storm. Isn't tour season February all the way into May? It could go all the way into June, but yeah, the peak is in between, is really in between March and May, like all the way from March to May. June, you get more derecho type events, higher Cape events, you know, Cape bomb tornadoes, those ones that kind of just stay over a field and just sit there for like an hour. Those are the ones that happen in like June, July. Isn't the tour? Oh, never mind. I read that. I heard that March and June are expected to be more active, and April and May below average. I mean, we'll see. Those predictions, long-range predictions, are always wrong. But some people are better at it than other. I mean, I always watch Convective Chronicles forecast. He sometimes gets it right a little bit, but I mean, so far his forecast has been kind of off. So, what you thinking, northwestern Alabama? Am I cooked? I mean, mainly just damaging winds and some potential down there for some strong, for some strong winds and also some brief tornadoes. And I think that all the way for northern Alabama, our threat's mainly going to be from 9 p.m. through around 1 a.m. Into your area, let me see where you are again. I don't think so. Maybe. You might be able to make the argument. The line still seems pretty strong, but I think that 10% really is up there for the kind of transition from a more discrete mode into a line segment. Yeah, this is Weather Circle Pro. I see we have people still wanting the link. Usually the mods do that, but they're like, none of them are here. I got y'all. There's the link. Let me go ahead and just pin that. Stop being an idiot. All right, let's look at the hangout really quick. How is our tornado threat here? Very worried about it. Mama Bear, your tornado threat by around Monday 4 a.m. There is, I would say it's not super high. You have those mountains, but maybe a brief chance for a tornado is still possible. But I'd be more worried about stronger winds, especially aloft. You're gonna have, if you're like up on the higher portion of some of these mountains out here, there's definitely gonna be stronger winds higher up in elevation than there will be near the surface. So I'd be watching out for some damaging winds. Even like non-thunderstorm type winds can still knock out power there in that kind of scenario. VA Beach had an EF3. Yeah, I was live for that one. That one was actually pretty unexpected. Virginia Beach had NWs and Northwest. Hello. Do we think tornadoes will pop off here? I don't think they're gonna pop off per se. You're definitely could get maybe some more discrete cells that probably won't do much, but some strong damaging winds and potentially still a QLCS tornado threat. Let me see what your instability is looking like as we go further into your area. I mean, yeah, there's definitely enough instability to support a tornado threat. Our lower level winds. Let me check. One of the things I love checking on this app that we haven't checked yet is the U wind. Oop. Yeah, I need to make sure that sound doesn't appear. Yeah, it seems like our winds are going to be, mixing the most. Over here near like Jonesboro, potentially down over there near Shreveport as well. I'm having trouble picking out like actual circulations near the line. Potentially over there near like Tupelo, near Clarksville, there could be rotation. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really see it too well. But you can tell like where we have all these strong blue lines near like the red lines here. That is telling us where a lot of our winds are mixing favorably for more like QLCS type tornadic storms. And unfortunately, this doesn't go into that time where we have more prefrontal storms over here into Eastern Virginia and Eastern North Carolina. But yeah, it should only make that noise once, but it's making it for the rendering noise and for the loading noise, which is a little bit excessive. What are the winds going to be like for Wisconsin? Yeah, we can do the wind gusts. So yeah, over here in Wisconsin, looks like it's going to be around 30 to 40 miles per hour, and then getting up into the 50-mile-per-hour range over there near Madison and then Milwaukee. Seems like it's going to be windiest, really starting at around Sunday 9 p.m. and then continuing all the way throughout the entire day of Sunday going in. And it's not going to be until Monday afternoon when we really start to see those winds calm down for most of Wisconsin. What am I thinking for Central Ohio? You guys are kind of in a weird spot of the storm. It's really like, you don't have a whole lot of instability. You still have strong wind shear up there. So I wouldn't completely rule out the chances for, some tornadoes. But, as you can see, I would say it's mostly Western Ohio that can get impacted the strongest here. And then after about Columbus, the line really starts to give up. Could still potentially have some tornadoes there, but I would say mainly over there near like Jacob, Scott Spot, Columbus, Dayton, Covington, and Lima as well. And like Toledo will probably have a little bit more of an elevated tornado threat in comparison to the rest of Ohio. Hopkinsville, isn't that like right here? Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, some pretty strong storms are possible over there near Hopkinsville by around 8 to 9 p.m. on Sunday. Looks like you are in a 10% hatched risk for strong tornadoes. Not much of a hail threat. And a 45% chance for some strong damaging winds. So I would certainly be weather aware over there in Hopkinsville, Seal Corps. For Florence, the chances for some damaging winds right around like 9 to about 11 p.m. there. Definitely be watching out for some damaging winds and the potential for some tornadoes down there as well. Who went through a tornado? Well, unfortunately, I don't have any comforting words for you other than just be ready, which is not very comforting. I mean, it's going to be a dangerous day for you. Power outages are pretty likely in your area. So, good news is you will almost 100% certainly be alive the next day. I promise. Will Bowersville get impacted with tornadoes? Don't know where that is. Could this winter weather system for the Midwest be considered a criteria for a bomb cyclone? I don't know. Let me look at it on Pivotal Weather. See how much that pressure drops and how quickly. And why does Pivotal Weather do this? Load. It's like not loading. Finally, someone else's app screwing up. And not mine. Yeah, it's not looking like bomb cyclone material. Wow, that is so annoying. Are you gonna load or not? It's just not loading. Am I hydrating? Yeah. I mean, we're only gonna be live for like a couple more minutes, so. How's the tornado potential look for northeast Florida? Not as high as like the panhandle of Florida. I would say it's a pretty low chance. Not technically not impossible. It is very annoying. What is very annoying? If you die tomorrow, you're unsubscribing. Okay. Glitches, yeah. Can't do anything about it. Okay, here we go. Finally. Oh, no. Even though it says it's loaded, it's not loaded. Yeah, Pivotal Weather needs to fix that. It does not, as far as I could tell by what has loaded, yeah, it's not looking like a bomb cyclone. I mean, coming off the Rockies, it's going to stay as a 900 millibar low. And it's only going to drop about 10 millibars. So, doesn't meet the criteria for a bomb cyclone. So calming. Thank you. He said, I'll be alive tomorrow. Yeah. I was trying to give him something comforting. And although it's going to be pretty crazy, CO Core, I have been here. You might not notice it, but I notice it. I have been here and we've covered your area in some pretty intense situations, and you've lived through every single one. And I have proof. So I can say with some pretty good certainty that you're going to also live this next one. Well, it only takes one. Sure. You could also die on the drive to Walmart later on today, but you know, the thing is that the chances are in your favor. They're definitely in your favor. It's gonna be scary. Trees could fall, but you know, as long as you follow the warnings and you're not outside, you have a pretty dang good chance of surviving this storm. Yeah, the tornado might even happen right on top of your home, but likelihood, more than not, it's going to be a briefer and weaker tornado and your house will survive. Now, some of these tornadoes could be strong tomorrow, but there's a very low chance that any of you in chat actually get significantly impacted by it. Maybe like 0.5 to 1% of the people in chat will actually have some sort of significant impact to their life out of this storm. Most of y'all, probably the biggest impact you'll be dealing with is power outages for maybe a day or so. And very few of you, if any of you, will actually get impacted by a tornado tomorrow. But there is that chance, so I would definitely be weather aware just in case you are one of the unlucky people. It may be a heart attack, please no. Which areas are the strong tornado? For today, I mean, for tomorrow, it's going to be back over here. I mean, it's pretty much going to be like everybody has technically a chance for strong tornadoes. I hate this new thing where like I get like 2% for a strong tornado threat. That's technically the ceiling, but I just hate it. I hate having to say 2% in strong tornado, and I hate it. I just hate it, especially if they're going to be covering the entire 2% with a strong tornado chance. It's not equal throughout the entire area. Some areas are gonna have a really weak segment of the line, and you know, it might spit out a really brief tornado like over there, you know, into parts of Ohio. But you know, it's just like, I think it's a little bit excessive and a little bit fear-mongering in my opinion. I'm not enjoying this new SPC outlook. I like it for conditional days where like you know, you could have a really strong storm develop, and if it does actually fire in a capped out environment, then you could get a strong tornado, but it's so conditional that we just don't know. But I hate putting these huge blanket areas of strong tornadoes. I think that it's going to cause a trust issue with a lot of the public, because I mean, a 5% strong tornado sounds pretty dang scary, but when nothing happens, it's definitely going to impact the way that they think about the next time you say it a lot more than if it was just a, you know, a regular 5 or 2% for brief and weaker tornadoes. I just don't like it. I don't like the new SBC outlook. I think it's too confusing. It's so much that people have to the main thing, I think it's a good idea. I honestly do. But the thing that I don't think it's a very realistic idea, because it causes too much confusion in the public. Like, I have to explain all these new things to you, and I'm really good at explaining things, and it's still probably confusing for you guys. Like, what does a 2% chance for strong tornadoes even mean? That's hard for someone to conceptualize just off of base statement. But then, you know, you put it in the hands where you have this social media, you know, atmosphere where there's so much misinformation going around, or maybe people that aren't even trying to, you know, do misinformation. You know, the way that they explain it might not be efficient, and we could get some people out there that are really popular say it in the wrong way, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have mass confusion. And even if they do a good job at explaining it, the problem is that it's still confusing. Like this looks scary for someone over there like Mama Bear and Rachel, but the chances of a strong tornado are actually, I don't even think they're 2%. I don't even know why they have a strong tornado risk over you. That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. Like, gone are the days of having just a regular 2%, but I feel like a lot of the 2% is just a regular 2%. And if you do get a tornado, you get a brief and weak one. Like, I don't know how this one's different in any way. No, I'm not talking about them crews. They actually do a really good job when it comes to explaining threats. It's crazy how people are saying tomorrow is going to be 2020. There's people really saying that? Now that's crazy. It's definitely not going to be that. Why do people love scaring others? Because you guys love to be scared. You know, yes, there is a huge problem, and all the blame goes on the creators that do that, but you guys are clicking on it. I mean, there's got to be some point where when you figure out that not every storm that ever happens is going to be an apocalypse. If you continue to believe that over and over and not fact check and figure out if it was really an apocalypse or not, and then you continue to get, you know, tricked, that's technically on you. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool you twice, then it starts to become your problem. You guys gotta stop clicking on all the clickbait. That's how we fix this. It's not gonna stop. The crappy problem is it shouldn't be on your guys' hands, in my opinion. But you know, we do live in the United States. We have freedom of speech, and so you have to balance that out too. Yeah, like blatant misinformation. I mean, that should be removed from the platform, and people shouldn't have to wade through that. But that's just the way it is. These social media giants, they're not going to change their rules. They're going to keep allowing clickbait and misinformation because it makes them tons of money, because people like you click on it. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. You know, in order to stop it, it's on you guys. I mean, I can sit here and talk about it till I'm blue in the face. And in fact, I've done that for 3 years that I've been on YouTube. It's been a problem since I started, and it's been only getting worse and worse and worse as time has moved forward, especially winter season. Holy crap. We had AI channels that were posting absolute slop and getting hundreds of thousands of views, and none of them got banned. None of them got taken off the platform. You know, you just got to just understand that most events aren't something life-changing or super strong or dangerous. Usually those are pretty rare to come by, but it's hard. How do you discern? That's what frustrates me. If you're not really in tune with the weather and you're not super nerded out by it, right? You don't like know a whole lot about it. How do you discern whether or not that creator is lying to you or not? You're barely understanding any of the words that are coming out of their mouth. You're focused on finance or being a lawyer or being a doctor or a nurse. Like, that's where your area of expertise comes in. How the heck are you supposed to discern whether somebody's speaking the truth about weather or not? That's a big problem. And that's why I personally believe that shouldn't be in the hands of the public to wade through. But what are you going to do? Was my title clickbait today? Nope, it was not clickbait today. Our tornado risk about an hour or two before I went live went from a 5% to a 10% tornado risk. So it did get worse. You're a weather geek. Well, you're in luck. Your BS meter is probably pretty in tuned. What do I think the main threats for Lafayette? You got a 2% chance for tornadoes. Hail, pretty much a 0% risk. Significant chance though for some damaging winds, up to 15%. Could get some 60 to 75 mile per hour winds over there. Wait, Storm Chaser Rob's in the house. Let's go. Oh yeah, he says chase prep underway. Nice. I read his message, but I didn't read his screen name. Did it increase for Monday? No, we don't have tornado probs for Monday yet. We just have the significant severe weather probs. But we'll probably have like a 5% and maybe even a 10% as that gets issued. How's Athens, Alabama looking?
A winter storm warning has been issued for these areas.
Athens, yeah. You guys are in a 5% strong tornado risk, 5% hail risk, and a 30% strong damaging wind risk. I would say your wind is your big threat. Tornadoes, not as much, but you could see maybe an isolated tornado within a 25-mile radius of you. Needs to be aware as this line comes through. Photos look insane. Yeah, the photographs are they're pretty interesting, but you need to have an actual mature storm for it to really be able to tap into those, and I do think that is possible. So yeah, I agree with you there. I wouldn't say the photographs are like something we've never seen before. They're not necessarily insane, in my opinion. Pretty normal for a severe weather outbreak in the southeast. I would say pretty average, especially for March. But yeah, there'll definitely be weather aware. Some briefer, weaker tornadoes will be possible, and the off chance for a strong one is definitely there. Thank you, Kaylin, for the $10 donation. I do appreciate that. Hometown got hit by an EF4, Cookeville, Tennessee. My brother teacher lost her life of it. It wasn't there when it happened. Oh my goodness. Sorry to hear that, ice cream. Well, I hope you never have to go through that, anything like that again. How do you change your name on here? Like in chat? What are snow totals looking like for tomorrow in northern Nebraska? We've been over snow totals. I don't really feel like talking about them. I'm sorry. I'm not a snow lover. I'm a southeast guy. I'm already tired of the snow, and I really just don't feel like talking about it. I mean, if you're gonna get snow, you're not gonna die. This is gonna be cold. You're gonna get some snow. But we talked about it earlier, so you can go back in the forecast and talk about it. But I'm not gonna continue to talk about it. It's gonna be snowy, especially over there in northern Wisconsin, going to the UP and Michigan, where some spots could pick up to like 2 feet of snow. Northern Nebraska, I would assume, is like a dusting to like a couple of inches. I'm just so tired of snow. I know some of you in chat really like snow, but it's just not my forte. I'm not really that great at forecasting it. I don't really know exactly how it works because I've learned about it before, but I've never like just ever really been that interested in snow. I'm not really that helpful when it comes to snow season. I hate going live for it because I'm like, hey, it's snowing.
Winter storm
And then that's pretty much what you say for the entire stream. You're like, whoa, it's snowing over here. I don't even know why people watch snow forecast or snow live streams, to be honest, unless there's like a significant wind threat. That's like really my only exception. If we get like a big nor'easter and there's definitely going to be like a lot of power outages, like then I can actually, be of some assistance. But I don't even know, like if someone's just getting a foot of snow and like no damaging winds, I don't even know why people would watch that. It's like, hey, it's snowing here. Then you click on something else and you're like, guess what? It's now snowing over here. Did you know that it's still snowing here? I don't know. That just drives me mad. But it's mainly just because it's mainly just because I live in Alabama. It's like watching a paint dry stream. Yeah. For me, it is. I mean, I know that some people love watching snow and like seeing snowmen and all that. But we don't get that much snow. If I watch, it's out of jealousy. But all right, folks, I think I'm going to log off. But I do appreciate everybody tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And yeah, we'll be live tomorrow, probably before the storms get started, to give one more little update, go over everybody's timing, and then also talk about Monday again. And then we'll cover the storms tomorrow, and I hope all of y'all make it through it all right. Yeah, y'all take it easy. I hope that none of y'all get any damage as well. And yeah, looking forward to see you go live too, Storm Chaser Rob. But yeah, y'all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Peace.